Here's my next project. Like all my projects, I don't know if it's going to turn out. I think it will, but I don't want to spend $10,000, $15,000 on a smooth drum, vibratory. Been talking about building one of these for about 6 months. Good friend of mine that we're trying to do some commercial site work together said, hey, I found what you're looking for on Facebook Classifieds. Bought this thing for a good price. It's exactly what I was looking for. It's already got the shaft, the pillow blocks, the end walls. It's 3 foot diameter, 6'2" long. It's only 1/4 inch thick. So I'm going to cut a hole in one of these sides to put concrete inside. I'm going to stand it upright and fill it up with concrete. Take a rubber mallet and tap on it, try to get all the air out, and condense the concrete. But with it being 1/4 inch, I want concrete on the back side so it won't dent. So there's something behind there. And this 5 inches extra on both sides, since the end wall isn't at the end, I don't see any sense in having to come off the frame to get back to the pillow block, doing that extra work, when more than likely this last 5 inches is going to get dented because there's nothing behind it and it's only 1/4 wall. I'm just going to cut the 5 inches off both sides, so I'll be left with about 5'4" something like that. I can already see where this is dented just from being moved around. Not exactly sure what it did at a plant at one time. So I'm going to fill that up with concrete. That should weigh maybe roughly hit or miss 5,000 pounds or something like that. And then I've had this old trench compactor that I bought, hoping I could fix it. I think I gave like $450 for it a few years back. Since I've found one that did work, needed some work, but the crankshaft in this one, this had a rough life, and I don't think they ever changed the oil on the hat's diesel. So I just had it sitting up there. One time I was going to put both drums together side by side and mount the vibrator on top and make a skid hook up. Maybe pull a planetary centers out or something so it'd roll, but that's not really the best idea. So I'm going to pull these drums off. I've already disassembled it partial. I want to put this vibrator on the roller. I think that between the weight of the concrete filled drum, I think is going to be somewhat sufficient. I've tried to take the vibrator housing out of that, and I think due to the vibrations, bolts won't hold it tight, so I think that's why Ramex machined that to where that's a press fit. So what I'm going to do is just fully disassemble this. And originally I was going to cut out the center and just weld to that, but I think with the vibrations and how violent that is, I think I'm just going to fully disassemble this and leave that whole 1.25 inch thick mainframe that goes throughout the whole machine. I'm just going to put that on the roller so I don't have to deal with welding to that piece and mounting it. I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm going to put it, I was originally going to put it on top, but I don't want it to be 6 foot tall. It's a little ridiculous looking. I had thought about putting it in the front, but I don't like how that is closer to the drawbar of the tractor with the vibrations. So I think what I want to do is run this piece out behind the roller enough to run 2 1/2 inch by 12 plates from this side to that side, and leave them 1 1/4 inch apart, 1 3/8, and just drop that 1 1/4 inch main frame in between those two. And where the planetaries, to my understanding, I take these drums off, the planetaries in the back have like 10 bolts or something into the main frame. So what I wanted to do was just put bolts through at both planetary sides through both 1/2 inch plates of steel, and use fine thread bolts, torque them down, and give that a go and see what that's going to happen. So the vibrator will actually be turning perpendicular to the drum. I know all the ones that are made are in the drum and turn with it, but I think it's just because that makes sense. I'm not exactly sure if it matters if it's vibrating this way or this way. So that's the plan. Just came back from the salvage yard, found some decent steel. It's 2.5 by 2.5 by 1/4. I think I'm gonna use for the drawbar. And this looks like 3 by 4 angle that's 1/2 inch thick. For the sides, I was wondering how I was going to use tube to bolt that down and torque it. I would have had to drill through one side and put a bushing. Didn't really want to do that, so that big angle iron is perfect. I can just go right across here, and with cutting this off, I can run the frame right over top of the pillow block. And then I got this, there's a couple welds I got to knock off, but I got this 3 by 3 1/4 angle. If the vibrator ends up going on the back, then I was going to do a scraper on both sides, but I think one scraper is plenty. So I'm going to put the vibrator back there, try to, and I'm just going to put the angle iron upright so it will scrape on the top if you're going one direction, the bottom if you're going the other direction. And if this works like I'm thinking, I'm going to leave enough room here on the front and the back, so if it works like I think, I'm going to have a metal company bend me 2 180-degree shells, and so I can build a pad foot kit to bolt on it. So I'm going to leave the framework far enough out so a couple bolts, you can pull that scraper off and build another scraper assembly to go in between the pad foot kit. So leave enough space there for that. And then on the frame, to try to keep the vibrations from the tractor, I'm going to use these guys right here. There's 8 of them. There's 2 here, 2 there, 2 here, 2 there. That keeps the vibrations from down here in the engine. So I got all those rubbers there, and I think I'm going to integrate those in a series of 1 or 2 sets on the drawbar to try. I don't know if it's going to work, but try anyways to keep the vibration from the roller to the tractor. My concerns on this were the vibrations on the pillow blocks, but if they last 100 hours, you can buy those cheap enough. Just replace them. My friend brought up a good point. On this unit, the vibrator is traveling through the planetary bearings and stuff, so I'm not sure that's as big an issue, but I was going to make it to where the drawbar unbolted and I could put a compact track loader plate hookup right here so I could run it either or, but I threw that idea out. If I want to run it with the CTL, I'll just take 2 horizontal 1/2 inch plates, weld it on the back top of the bucket, and drill a hole for a pin where I can just push it with the loader, because if this thing ends up weighing 4 tons, the CTL I have only weighs 5, so trying to turn that is going to be hard because the machine won't pick it up. So I'm not going to put the quick attach on the center. I'm just going to make it with a drawbar, and could still use it with the loader. Just put a pin through. But that's the thoughts anyways, and start of the project. Part 1 of some more videos to come.